My name is Shigeyoshi Ebata. Ebata is the last name. And I was born in Vancouver in 1931.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. My name is Kazue born in October 11, 1928 in Vancouver.
yeah.
Thank you.
That's my parents and the grandmother, and they decided to take all kids to the Japan and get the basic, education, Japanese education. That's what they were trying, and then they planned to send us back to Canada after we finished that basic education in Japan. And so they, one by one, they're supposed to come back. But when they went through it, after finishing the primary school, my brother, my older sister, my older brother, they wanted to go to the secondary education. 日本で中学校って言うたわね。Yeah, 中学校、女学校、ね。Yeah, girls high school and boys middle school. And so, but she wanted to come. I didn't want to go through the same way. And she wanted to come back to Canada. So she just
last trip before the war.
Yeah.
October 28の船で帰るつもりやったのが、December 8に戦争始まったでしょ。だから乗れなかったの。
Yeah, I still remember October 9, that 1940. 41.
49. Oh,
Yeah. And I saw a newspaper, and Britain nullified that trade agreement with Japan. So that means that no more ship go to the Canada. So her trip was reserved on that.
Yeah, reserved
Cancel
October
the
28th trip back to Canada.
She had packed everything ready to go. Now that were sailing canceled, so got trapped in Japan, and so I was still in the elementary school. So anyway, we had just to stay put and.
ジャパン教育に行った時に3 months だけ兵隊に入って。
Well, he was in Japan as a soldier training for 3 months.
Yeah.
ほんでお見合いして。
Then she.
ママと。ほんで2人で。
You know お見合い?
Yeah.
Right?
Arranged marriage.
Yeah, and he got married in Japan.
Yeah, so my grandmother took my mother to Japan to find a husband for her. And when they called the omiyai, the matchmaking, and then somebody introduced us that my father was happened to be in Japan for for physical examination for the military service. Yeah, when it reaches 20, compulsory. And after you pass the health, and you have to serve 3 months for the basic the military training, and put into the reserve. Yeah, that's what that was the system. So while he was in there, my parents were married.
パパもハードウォーカーだったもんね。
Yeah, and while
おじいさん、お父さんですか？どんな日本で仕事をして？
While he was in the military service, my mother was living alone in the city, and she learned so many sewing and knitting and so that thing. And after he was released, so they both came back to the.
本当にパパはいい人だった。ものすごくいい人だった。
よく働いて。
よく働くし、もう子供らにも本当に。この国からパパが日本に帰ったのは I was 17 years old、17か18だったのね。もう本当に大事にしてくれたしね、もうママはもうチャラチャラおしゃれしてもう遊びに歩くばっかりで
You know Strathcona Elementary School?
Oh, yeah.
Or the Princess and the Kadova? Is that?
大体知ってる。
Yeah. Yeah.
で、
And
そこで
we used, my mother used to run at a candy store.
お
Yeah, right in front of school. Mm. Yeah, and that was a busy street at that Princess and in Kadova.
Bond paper in there.
And
That's これが
Bond paper. リチャードストリートで生ま
oh,
れた。
birthplace. Birthplace was birthplace was at Richard Street, 1300 block. Right now, the inside of Cloverleaf on that Granville Bridge. So when the people ask, where were you born? Yeah,
Then
under
I
the
went to
Granville
Japan.
Bridge.
This old, 6 years old.
お
Yeah, my brother had some record of village, and also the name, everything there. That's the number of those names is more than population, whole population of a village. That means
something wrong.
yeah, because they came to Canada, went back, somewhere back and forth, yeah, and so the first generation, the second one went, or they all made so much money, came back to the Japan. So almost every house, family in Hasaka, that has some kind of relation with Canada.
レイクビュアが氾濫して、
Yeah.
大きなビュア、レイクビュアが氾濫して、もう漁業も農業も全部ダメになったから、グランパcame to Canada. Lots of people coming same time. My town.
Yeah, that's what my grandfather first came over here.
My grandpa came first.
Yeah.
He's himself. Then 女の人の話はできないね。
Nani? Yeah.
グランパの。
It's all right. Yeah, that's grandpa is that he was a Yoshi too, and so my grandmother was so dominant, and so he was always that sometimes the rebel against that wife, yeah? And when he decided to come to the Canada, at that time those three ryokan, Yokohama, they acted as some travel agent, and they handled all those business, the passport, and those things. So usually, the people who came to Canada, they stayed there, and maybe about a couple of weeks or whole months until all the paper goes through there. And while they are there, my grandfather gets so close to one of the maid in the hotel.
And he came with her.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And took her along. Yeah. To the Canada. Yeah.
女の人連れてきたの。その旅館の女中さん。
Yeah. So
すごいハンサムだったの、グランパ。
since so many people come in and out of Canada and Hasaka, there's always, what's happening in Vancouver is that always reach to the Hasaka. So my grandmother learned what was happening in my husband.
He didn't send any money.
And she was so upset. Took my mother and my aunt. She had two daughters, and so took two
Grandma came
daughters
to Canada
with
herself.
and rushed to the
Looking for my
Canada, came Vancouver.
いや、グランパ一人で探しに来たの、おじいさん。
She came out to him to find him.
Quite a story.
Yeah, because of the two daughters in Japan. Then he didn't send any money.
Yeah.
That's why.
Oh, she came out.
That's right. Yeah, my mother in レモンクリーク通たしめでマイファダイだあっちのキャンプね
Yeah?
マミザはレモンクリークからたしめに行ってたね
Yeah.
during the war ね
Yeah, my mother, the father was separated. Well, he was, my father was one of the hardcore crossfire, and what you call that camp north of Ontario. Angra, yeah, Angra. And he spent 4 years there. Yeah.
長いね。
And then when Angra was closed, he couldn't come back to the Vancouver. And because they weren't allowed until 49, and he had a choice to go to the east or settle the interior on the BC or go back to Japan. So my mother was the same position there, you know, that just couldn't come back to Vancouver. So they worried so much about us because during the wartime we had no way to communicate. And so my mother volunteered to get in the first ship, and my father came back on the third ship. Yeah, and so after they came back to Japan, we lost the connection to the Canada. So the
戦争中の
reason our return to
戦
Canada.
争中の苦労話せなあかん戦争中の苦労話をせな
Yeah. Reason they said no, we took so long to come back to Canada, the financial problem. We had no way to get that finance and get the help from anyone in Canada because no more relatives left. Yeah. And he came to Canada when he was a teenager, and he had a connection with that some of his cousins were working in an Abbotsford sawmill.
そうめんだよ
Oh,
ね。
yeah. And so, well, yeah.
徴兵検査あるでしょジャパンで21になったら徴兵検査に帰ったの Have to go back to Japan
Yeah, so
徴
then
兵
when,
検査を受けに行か
yeah,
な
Did you hear that? At age 21, his father had to go back to Japan, and in Japan do those physical check and everything else at age 21.
and it was the government that were crushed for the hardcore group. They are against the government policy that were no compulsory moving, so and so that you know.
これカナダにいてる時。
カナダにいる時にね。And although anyone else that marked that hardcore, they are all sent to the concentration camp. Yeah, they call the road camp. Built a road in a remote area.
なんか
And
つなぎの服着て後ろに日の丸がついてるから逃げたら撃たれる
そんなのあったの？
the all jacket. Some people still have pictures, and the jacket. This is that around the lead, you know, that circle on the back of a jacket. And so when they saw geez, we got the Hinomaru, they were so happy. And then learned later that the target, when you escape,
escape.
they can see. Was even you don't speak, you didn't show that you're going to cooperate with the government, that automatically you are hardcore. Yeah, quite a few that they were sent to the Angola. Yeah. Anyway, if you don't show that you know, cooperation to the government, automatically you are hardcore. Yeah, so there's no choice.
うちの親がグロッサリストをしてたのよねチャイナタウンの近くで。ほんでパパはソーメル働いて、でグランマはクリーナーに働いて、でママもクリーナーで働いて、そのお店はチャイニーズのおじさんが働いてるの。
チャイニーズのおじさん。
Yeah.
家に全然いないのみんな。
Had one employee.
ほんで小学校がちょうど小学校が店の前だったのね。
Yes, Strath's corner, right in front of Strath's corner. That building is still there, I think.
え
That building is maybe still there. And the corner, Princess
コ
and
コ
the
ーナーだったよ
Padova.
学校の真ん前だったから、
Yeah.
私も日本に帰る前に半年ぐらいしかエレメンタリー行かなかったんだけど、
Yeah, my sister and my older brother, they went to grade 1, 2, but they forgot complete English. Yeah. You know, yeah. When I came back first.
Okay.
Yeah.
日本に行くとき
日本行くときはね。
全部一緒。
一緒。
ユーグランマ。
Yeah.
一緒に行って、
Yeah.
で着いたところはどこなんですか？
彦根の発作。
目がついたところ。
Oh, I thought that my grandparents had a house in Hikone.
彦根？
Yeah, so we went there.
大きな家買ってあった。
I heard that I still remember my memory only here, but I was told from a surrounding is that when I went to the Japanese at ryokan, and when we got on the boat, yes, that we were just told that we are going to a picnic. So
Picnic to Japan?
used to go to the Boyan Islands to picnic with the ferry. And there's some like that. We couldn't tell the size of the boat, where to go. So we were told, especially I don't know how they were told.
私はずっと泣いてたみたい、ボートで。ハウスも見えんし、山も見えんし、何にも泣いて14 days。
Yeah.
知らなかった。
Yeah. So
ずっと泣いてたって。
after a few days on the ocean, that we realized that we were tricked in. Yeah. So when I got to the Yokohama. Yeah, my one protest refused to take his shoes off. In Japanese, yes, you have to take your shoes off. That the grandma told me about that. That's my revenge.
ジャパンは大きな家買ってくれてたから。ね、
Yeah.
すごい大きな家だった。
Wow.
いや、なんか広い、very wide house やったもんね。
I was so young too, only 3 years old. Yeah. Yeah.
3だった。かわいそうに。3だったの。
Separated from my parents.
6。
Yeah, my grandmother was so dominant that she ruled everything.
Yeah.
And that the family
グラ
affair.
ンマはもう very very ハードウォーカーで何でもやる人。もちろんグランキッズの世話も、ね、look after very good ね。
Yeah. みんな日本で小学校、エレメンタリースクールね。
ブラザーとシスターはもうすぐ入って、で私はちょっと半年ほど遅れて入って。
でまあ彼はまだ学校行く年じゃないもんね。
Yeah, the few years before the school age.
そんなところで、
Yeah.
でね、
So
my grandmother, he look forward to my grandpa. Then 3 days just with him, 3 nights. Then
Pregnant again. Pregnant?
と同時にその女の人が変な病気持ってたわけ。ね。
Yeah.
だからそれも移ったからホスピタルに入ってグランマ。
Well, she was told that
Baby出して
that she can't expect to live. But one of the doctor, they developed one operating at the technique there that he told that my grandmother that there's no other way to do anything to you except just if she wants to take a chance.
Just a 50-50
So she
chance.
agreed and operated and completed everything as the women's
Just like a
warm that everything is removed.
just like a meat shop. 足くくって天井から吊るしてあったって。
Yeah.
Almost 100 years ago, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, that operation was successful. Yeah, so my grandmother was so healthy, and she used to say, "I am not a woman anymore," she said. Oh,
They remove
oh.
her womb.
Yeah, and she's so short, it didn't even reach the 5 feet. I think
Yeah.
4 foot
Then
10, 11 around there.
Yeah, we went to school, brother and the kids, but she doesn't look after
So who look after
学校の
you?
こと。two teacher, school teacher 下宿させてうちに、家庭教師の代わりに。
下宿ってボーディングね。
で、
Yeah.
two teacher look after our education. Yeah,
Teacher
yeah.
will look after you.
Oh, yeah, so my grandmother thought that she can't bring up, or for education-wise, she has no ground, just say. So she invited 2 teachers to board, at the house there. So actually, those 2 teachers helped the students, tutor, to us at the home. So my grandmother said she's so active every day. I remember that she had a big pot at the onabe, they call that the cooking pot, and okome nisho, 20 cups,
20 cups.
every morning.
That's
Yeah,
quick.
and he,
Teacher's lunch. Make teacher's lunch too.
yeah.
Our lunch.
So we had to pack the bento. Yeah. Uh-huh. And so she was making 6 bento every morning. Yes. And even though the 20 cups go on, they said about the supper, it's all gone.
家族で何人一緒に住んでたんですか？家族は。
4 kids とグランマと2 teacher.
So 8.
ティーチャーが天気になるでしょ。なんだティーチャー comes だから学校4人とも勉強がようできるわけ。いつもティーチャーが見てくれてる。
Yeah.
で学校はどこまで行かれたんですか？こちら。
High school.
ハイスクール？
だからそれが問題なんです。戦争が始まって仕送りがなくなったの、マイペアレンツから。だから昔のロングタイム後ジャパンになったオールドスタイル just 2 boys have to finish high school 2 girls have to go out to work make money to help them.
Yeah, my older sister.
Just like that.
My older sister, she was in the girls' high school at the 3rd grade. That she quit school and started work.
そう
So the
ほんで私も
Yeah.
私も
so she can earn enough money to
お金ないから
cover our
上の
tuition.
学校行けないから働けって言って神戸のドクターのうち働きに行けて、まあ私学校辞めたのが悔しくって毎晩寝ないで勉強してたよ。もうずーっともう10年ぐらい。
日本でね。
Yeah, she wanted to be a doctor.
ドクターになるとしてた。
ドクターになりたかったけどなれないから、ほんでナースのライセンス取ってもう勉強してでサンバのライセンス取るって今度勉強して東京の東大の医学部の附属に厚生女学部っていうのあったの。4年間だなんけどで勉強ができたら医学部に横滑りできるって聞いたもんだからそれを受けに行って3000人のうちで60人通ったの。それにグランマ女だてらに寄宿舎なんているね。もう絶対寄宿舎ダメ。
She didn't alone.
すごかったじゃん。
もう泣いたね。もうせっかく試験に通ってもう東大の講堂でね試験受けて一番後ろだったからペーパーテストやってた一番後ろの学生さんがこうして見ててそれで集める時にこうして見てからでこうしてくれたからよかったと思ってたの。そしたら
She has to live in the what you call 寄宿舎日本でいうね。
もう全部寄宿舎入らねえかん。
それを許さなかった。
女の子はダメって、寄宿舎なんてダメっておばあさん、もう昔の人だから。それで何かの試験を受ける言ったら言い直すけ、お殿様のあれやから、その身分の低い人がなるからダメ。
そんな時でもそういうことあったんだね。
そう身分の低い人がなるからダメ。看護婦の免許取ったから3バトル言ったらダメ。身分の低い人がやるんだからダメ。
身分の低い人って高い人ってどういうとこで身分低い？
だからそれがおかしいでしょ。お殿様の家来だった人はいいの。うんと下っ端の人は結局低いわけ。ね。
そんなん聞き始めた。
ほんでヘアドレッサーの試験を受ける言ったらやっぱり身分の低い人がするんだって。だからダメって。
Yeah, just her mind is very old-fashioned. Yeah, you can't even imagine what she had in her mind. Yeah, so strict. Yeah.
だからもうおばあさんと一緒にいると逃げ道ないわけ。
昔のままでと。
もう昔のまんまだから、あれしたいこれしたいでもダメ。女の子はダメ。だからハズバンと結婚するし、すぐヘアドレッサーの学校へ入ったの。
それでヘアドレッサー。
ほんで40年ヘアドレッサー。
You?
Professional.
Oh.
She could have been a doctor.
Yeah, my side was I finished at my high school in 1950, and when just about 3 months before I graduated, I applied at the job to the Nissan Jidosha. Yeah, and there was during the wartime that one of our family from a city they avoided the air raid, so they were living in a what you call the storeroom converted for living, and living there. He had a friend is in good position in Nissan Jidosha. So he introduced me to him. So I just submitted my resume, and so he told us that he's going to help me to get the job. Then about a few months before I graduate, and Nissan had announced, due to economical condition, no new hiring this year. That was in 1950. I was shocked, and I like to do the things with my hand. Yeah. And the only way that I get some job with some Nihon the Shosha, some trading companies. And I didn't like those kinds of business. I wanted to go to manufacturing. But there was nothing. If I was born a year later, I had the chance because the Korean War started, and there also that automaker, they just boosted the work that was undertaking the American vehicle maintenance. But so I thought maybe at the chance I went to the interview again, but the guy that interviewed me told me, and how I spent that 1 year, and that after the graduated. So I told them that I was working for the American family, and I was babysitting to try to learn some English, because my father thought that I have better chance in Canada than to stay in Japan. So, but I have no experience in the Canadian life, so to get used to the American style, so they have to learn that first have to learn the English.
ハウスボーイ、ハウスボーイに行くとね、言葉覚えるからね。
Basic English at what high school level, and so I wanted to family to babysit the 2 boys. So when I talk to the adults, I hesitate, very hard to positively to speak because I think I'm not speaking properly. So, you know. But when speaking to the kids, I didn't care the grammar or whatever. So such a funny thing is that those two boys, 3 and 4 years old, all realized that they're rascals. And they think it's, you know, they look me down because of my poor English. And but when the parents are away, I have to put them in the bed. And so bedtime story, what every night that the parents read. And so when the parents are not home, I get those kids book that they open it at the bedtime story read it. They knew my English is funny, but I still can read. But all just, you know, the kid.
I came
So
back to Canada.
They start to respect a little bit. So I got very, you know, got along very well. And so the parents kept me there until their term finished. They went, you know, back to the state. So at that time, I still couldn't find a job. So I stayed at this, keep working at the American forces. So I had a job in the supply depot and the Americans in the Kyoto city. Yeah. And so I stayed and tried to save the money to come back to Canada. But the wages are so low, and very hard to do it. Minimum $300 needed for the Hikawamaru. Yeah. That's at over 100,000 yen. It's just it's over 6 months' wage. Yeah. So try to save money is very hard. And while I'm working there, my future wife was working at that same area. So when we met, you know, the natural story, the boy and the girl. When you see the girlfriend, this you can't save money. So I told her that my plan to go back to Canada, and she wanted to come along with me. And so we decided we get married. It's right you know, build up assets with the 2 wages put together, and but very hard to build enough money, and also that she became pregnant. Yeah. So I was shocked. What am I going to do? Then the good thing came is that the American forces are reducing the size in Japan. So every about 6 months, they cut down the Japanese employee. So if you were were terminated, and the government doubled the retirement allowance. Yeah. So that money was enough to cover the trip for the 2 of us.
Oh.
Yeah. So that was lucky. So I applied right away for my passport and the visa for my the wife. And then my daughter came. So I added to my registered to the Canadian embassy as a child born at Canadian abroad. And when I was applying at the passport, that one thing the government made a big mistake. I had to clarify my citizenship. And basically, Canadian constitution, if you have birth certificate, automatically you are Canadian. But they don't recognize my Canadianship until I qualified. I'm clarified. I have a thing like, I don't know if you saw this thing like this. Have you seen one like this?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You saw?
Show it to the camera.
Yeah.
写真写すの。
So government issued this.
反対向け地方やろ。
So I have to use this
Yeah.
to apply to my passport.
Oh.
And luckily, this got me qualified for the redress 21,000
Oh,
because
religious.
a government violated that constitution. Yeah.
Brother and sister,
Yeah.
4 people apply for that 21,000.
So, because,
Just he got it.
after the
Just he got it.
after
Not
I
no
went
3
through
people.
this,
Nothing.
government must realize what they're doing wrong,
Yeah.
so they just scrapped this.
Is that right?
So the with the bus, bus, but the certificate is the only one needed after that.
Because he came back at 56.
So they,
I came back at 71. Yeah, that's right, 2 days.
so government admitted in between me and their time to come. Yeah. First, when I came to Canada, my oldest sister, she divorced. She was struggling at with raising a daughter in Japan. So I decided to bring her to Canada. So I arranged everything and I paid for the trip so that covered. So my sister settled here. And after that, my father had the Japanese retirement age of 55. And after that, he couldn't get that, decent job. So he had to pick a part-time job here or there. And he had a small farm that it's not enough to, support the income. So after 55, it's just too young. I said, "Then over here." So I sponsored my parents. I brought them over here. Yeah. And after that, my wife's sister was divorced in Japan, raising two kids. And so I just brought them over here. Yeah, and settled in Canada. Then she had operating at the beauty shop.
Yeah,
But yeah.
I came back by myself. I don't need any help because 4 people.
So she just quit. She wanted to come back. So I supported.
Yeah,
So
just language.
so I sponsored all of the families.
How many did you sponsor altogether?
Yeah.
何人スポンサーしました？何人ぐらい？
Yeah. So.
何人ぐらい
Huh?
何人ぐらい読んだ
Oh, how many is gonna be? My sister and the daughter, my parents, and my sister-in-law with 2 kids, and here's the.
No, me.
No,
No, me.
Not me.
Yeah, well, she came at her own expense anyway. Yeah.
ちょっと威張ってちょっと
She
威張って
had an asset because she packed up a beauty shop in
Yeah.
Japan, so she had asset. So financially,
8
yeah, didn't nothing to do with me anymore. Yeah, and it was okay, but I had to still stand behind them. Yeah, guarantor. Yeah, yeah. Government wanted the guarantor. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we came back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We took a family to
Then
the
he said,
Osaka.
very dirty town, smoke, and that's why you get sick. Come back. Yeah. Yes. Out I have a beauty salon. I have, but
I must have gave them some impression that Canada is so
get in the
nice.
hospital, in out. Yeah, and then came to Canada. Keep
For your health.
still have life.
Yeah.
Too long.
So all the 4 of us, the 2 sisters, my another brother and myself, 4 of them. Only my older brother is still in Japan.
And I came with my husband and
He
one
was
daughter.
working in government. He was, his job was very secure, and so to him, Canada is a strange country, yeah, because he grew up in Japan. So he had no intention to come back. So he stayed there. So my parents had, the house in the Hikone. So we just gave our heritage and and they gave everything to my brother. Yeah, like I said, that if I was born a year later, I had the chance to work at the manufacturing somewhat, so I could get the job, something to do with the hand. So after I came to Canada, I started pick up the part-time one that landscaping, garden helper. Yeah.
Day and night. He was working very hard.
Found the job in CPR. Yeah. CPR, they used to have 2 trains running across the country. And but every year the ridership they do going down. So to try that period that more so they overhauled the passenger train. So they on the Falls Creek, they had the CPR, the operating yard over there. Over there, they overhauled the minor overhaul or the coaches. So they hired the extra. So the second shift put on. So I had to get the chance to work on that. And that job lasted about 2 years. And the railway business was shrinking business. And so the seniority is the only thing in the control for your job security. Yeah? And whenever so many sections close down or reduce the size, and all the senior guys keep coming down, when I look to the future, there's no security on the job. So I had to find something else before I get fired. But before that, I got the layoff notice. So about a dozen of us got laid off. We went to that CPR station at the office, pay office on the 3rd floor. A bunch of us went up there. When I thought that if we all go up in a bunch, I have to wait upstairs anyway. Before go there, on the 1st floor, there was an employment office was in over CPR. So I walked in. If there's any kind of job what I can do, they said. So the guy said, "Can you do the hard work? That's the only thing I can do." So there was just, you don't even imagine that the kind of job used to exist called the grain door handling. They used to use a box cart to ship the grain and the bulk. So when they load them, they put the wooden put on the doorway and leave a gap on top and they shoot into it. And when they unload it, we knock the door down and they unload them. But those doors, farmers paying as a part of a shipping cost. So if the CPR collect all those doors and ship them back, they could sell to charge to the farmer again. So that's the money making in the business. Yeah? So that was a dirty job and hard work. But I could earn the money. But when I was working over there, same thing at the CPR keep shrinking. And so I didn't see that my job security in the future. Then I learned the Saskatchewan wheat pool. They are going to build a new grain elevator in the Vancouver Harbor. And in the meantime, they were operating small grain elevator built in 1928. And so that when unloading boxcar, just half manual shovel pulled by the winch but you have to set the shovel by hand, and it control. And this is the balancing is very hard for the muscle. Anyway, it was hard work. And when I see, I saw that 3 hired, 1 survived. Was guy I saw that when he came this morning, coffee time, he disappeared, didn't come back. Not my job. The job is not for me.
こっちの話より日本の話せなあかん。
Yeah. So that kind of the job. When I was working over there at Saskatchewan, we built a new elevator in North Vancouver. So when I moved over there, there's number of employees almost doubled. So instantly, my seniority went halfway up. And when we were handling all of the machine, there's a chance that the company get apprenticeship for the maintenance. So they also sending it to me. There's so many guys applied that when they see they got all the schooling, is that they just chickened out there. So I didn't have enough seniority, but the senior guy didn't apply. I had a chance to apply. And they went through what school was nothing. That's easy. So I finished it.
日本で中学せっかく入ってもね、
So I got that
自転車は買えないしね。
millwright at the national
Bicycle.
yeah those millwright certificate.
2 minutesぐらいかかるの。
So I could get that
お金
machine
ないし。
job, the maintenance job is that
ね、私
anywhere in
女の子
Canada.
2人は働きに出されて。
So that the
ところ
job
が
at Saskatchewan wheat pool is very secure.
だからずっとあるね。
So the
それで今、リタイ
yeah,
アするの。
I kept working at the millwright until they retired.
リタイア。
When I reached, came to close to 60, when I saw that so many my senior people worked at the 65 after retirement, and they didn't live very long. Yeah, so I thought, gee, this is, it's very sad when you see that. So they, yeah, my work quit in 60, but was when I calculated the pension, it's covered half of my wage anyway. So that means after 60, if I kept working, that means coming to working for the half of wage.
そうしてたんですか。
So I quit, retired, took early retirement, and it was 31 years ago.
だから長
Yeah.
生きしてんだ。
I mean, I was working in the American forces. Our wage was paid by the government. So we had was like Canada pension, and they had the pension system. We contributed, and I was paying about 6.5 years, and after that I came back to Canada. So I thought I lost all my qualification that get some Japanese pension. So I was curious when the Japanese had some big more like a trouble, like the whole country was.
How many years later apply したの?
Huh?
Japanese pension. How many years later apply したの?
Well, that when so Japanese pension, this I just curious, how I stand. So I checked with that system there, and the minimum contribution is 10 years to keep that qualification.
Yeah.
But if you were in a position couldn't contribute, that make it keep my qualification alive. So I contacted one of our office that I was talking to one girl there that she knew quite a bit about, as long as that she sees that my history, and I still have a qualification. So best is to apply in person. So I was going to I was visiting Japan every spring, So it was the February, so April of coming. So I went to the office there, and then when they said the girl was checking through the computer, she said, it's not the exact amount, but rough figuring, you have about over 300,000 yen a year coming. I said, I was shocked. Maybe I may get a little bit ransom, I was jumping in there. So what I have to do this? So you have to prove you were in the position couldn't contribute. So I told them I left Japan for that good reason. I need a proof. So bring an original passport or something to record shows that my departure of Japan. So I didn't have anything. Well, I didn't carry that old passport to the Japan. So that girl knew everything, and they said, since you have a census record in Hikone, you just go to the city office and get a copy of my census, and that may show that my movement. And when I took that, it showed that the date of my departure. So I took to the office again, gave it to the girl, and so what the financial institute that I'm dealing with at the bank. So I had a checkbook luckily, so I took the one piece for the boy. She sampled everything in there. So she put the file in there, everything covered, and I get about 360,000 yen a year.
うちはハズバンが大変だったからね。
Yeah.
ハズボンは
日本の人なのよ。ネイ
Typical
ビーに行ってた人だから。
Japanese.
なんか大変だったから。
日本のソルジャーだったのけ。日本
だから
のソルジャー。
ここへ来るとき置いてきたかったけどついてきたから。
So many.
娘だけ連れてきたかったけどね。ここへ来ても全然変わらなかったからね。言葉もわからんし余計にほらショートテンパーでね大変だったけどね。
ショートテンパー。
もう殴ったり蹴ったり平気だったからね。
大変だね。どんな生活されてたんですか。どうしてそんな人と結婚したんですか。
お見合いもの。お見合いなのよ。結婚したくないって言ってたのよ私一人でほら仕事持ってねずっと生きてるの。でも田舎だからうるさい。
うるさい。
もうカントリーだったから。
うるさいからもう結婚したの。
親が勝手に、親がこの国から帰ってきて勝手にお見合いさせて。何にもアンさんも何にもしてないのにもうちゃっちゃっちゃ。
So yeah, sort of a forced to marry.
何にも言えない。
Yeah. Those matchmaker comes with bring out all those some nice story about him, which is exaggerated.
ビューティーショップを経営自分でしてたんでしょ。
18年やってましたショップ。
そしたらお宅の方が家族のためにお金を作ってたんじゃないですか、一生懸命。子供さんは
アダプテッドドーター。
お
ワンドーターアダプテッ
いやでもアダプテッド
今よくしてくれる。サインロがよくしてくれるとっても日本人だけど。大事にしてくれる。もうエイブリウィークショッピングしてからに来てくれるし。彼
女ダンス僕ら一緒にしてる。
彼女とはあの人は違う。あの人は日系ホームからヘレッポに来てもらってる人。一人で出かけたら危ないって言うから、ドクターが通うのが忙しくって。
危ない、まだ綺麗だから他に虫がつって悪い。悪い言葉使っちゃったね今。
I think I stayed active if somebody took over my job on Kenjinkai.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the head, I know.
Yeah. So when I was appointed at that Enjin Kai as the head, was rule said 2 years term. So okay, I served the 2 years, and after 2 years there was the election, and then some of the people were elected, and they all declined. So nobody took over, so I was forced to stay on. So we went into another 2 years, 4 years. And the third term, that same, nobody came up at for the election. So just the whole thing is drifting here. So automatically I was forced to stay on. So I cut 2 years term, we went to the 6 years.
6 years.
Yeah. And I reached the age of 88. Oh, Jesus, so look at my age. That's not, I'm not young anymore. And so some people, it's not that easy because it's only twice a year for the picnic and the Shinnenkai. Yeah. But to prepare for Shinnenkai, I have to start to prepare 2 months ahead of time for the invitation and all the arrangement, everything. And so my assistant was the developer, some working people. He was mobile, Mori-san.
Mori-san.
Yeah, he can't get out of the house.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had to do everything all by myself. And then when the summer picnic, even that I had to make with a bukyokai at the garden we used to use there. And that one about so the 4 months a year, complete tied up. And in between, so many inquiries come from Japan with chemistry to check with me something, question, or looking for some people. That's quite annoying, etc. But well, so I pleaded so many times if somebody can take over, so nobody came.
Yeah.
So nobody take over, I'll quit.
Yeah.
So the no head, so no tail. So disbanded the whole thing. Yeah.
Everybody decided to.
Yeah. Shigeyoshi was just
Why was
some get along the membership. Yeah.